This is the PinAuthentication library demo. On application startup, the PinAuthentication activity is automatically launched, requiring the user to enter their PIN in order to clear the activity, and then it will return them to the activity for which it was launched from. Also, with doing that, there is the initial application login feature. So this is just an API for the controller class that allows you to hold off code execution until after that initial login has been had. Also in the controller, there are integrations for an onboard process. So if your application has an onboard process, it will hold off the automatic launching of the PinAuthentication activity until after it has been completed, which in this button is just a method call to the controller class's complete onboard process method, which marks it as complete and saves to shared preferences so that the next time you start up and check if onboard has been complete, it'll say yes, that it has been completed, and it won't launch the onboard process for your application again. In clicking that button for marking the onboard process as complete, it will automatically launch the enter a new PIN configuration for the user to set their PIN for the first time. And in doing so, that procced the initial application login feature, so that code execution happened like just right after that for whatever it is that you wanted to do. In this controller class, the UI interfacing features are the confirm PIN to proceed feature. So in this example here is confirm PIN and then click to proceed. So clicking that will require the user to confirm their PIN, and then the button changes to that Boolean value changed to true, such that for that particular button the value is true because they confirmed their PIN, and then they click to do something. This second button here is just an example of confirm PIN, and then it goes right into doing something. That feature is integrated with the PIN security. So if the user disables the PIN security, it will require them to confirm their PIN in order to do so. And while the PIN security is disabled, those values automatically switch to true, meaning that the PIN has been confirmed, because in this case there is no PIN. Re-enabling PIN security requires the user to enter a new PIN. If they back out of that, it won't enable PIN security. So they must set a new PIN. And as you can see, those buttons went back to requiring PIN confirmation. There's haptic feedback settings, API integrations for scrambled PIN. Reset PIN as well requires the user to enter their current PIN before being able to set a new PIN. So if they're in this enter new PIN, and then they have to confirm their new PIN. While they're in this configuration for setting a new PIN, if they send the application to the recents tray real quick, it will revert back to requiring them to confirm their PIN before being able to set a new PIN. Also, with the integration for application logout, the automatic logout feature, for this demo it's set to 4 seconds. So if they send the application to the background for longer than the time you have expressed in the initial initialization of PIN authentication, see it logs them out, and so if they hit the back button, they're logged out. So it will send the application to the recents tray. Upon completion of that, because they were in the set a new PIN or reset PIN configuration when they sent the application to the background, it will automatically complete the confirm PIN screen prior to allowing them to set a new PIN because they did it on login. So we'll just go ahead and set a new PIN here. There is in the builder implementation for initializing PIN authentication in your application's onCreate process, there's the ability to set custom colors. For this application, I chose blue and white, but you can also set those on the fly such that if you have, say, a custom theme picker or something for your application, you can hit up the settings API for setting custom colors, and what that does is it saves it to shared preferences such that the custom colors get loaded every time they're persistent. So in the button for whatever the user will choose for their theme, you can modify the colors for this screen, and then it will automatically load that at every time. We can set it back and clear those. So resetting it back to the application defaults that were expressed in the builder implementation for PIN authentication. It's just a quick clearing of that. Also, for some of the features in the activity itself, I already showed you the background logout feature, but it also clears the PIN. So if they have entered a PIN and they send the application to the background, it'll clear the PIN for them in order to not leak any of that data or potentially expose your application if they send it to the background and forget about it. And they had entered a PIN without hitting the confirm PIN button. For the demo, the minimum PIN is set to 4 characters. So 4 characters are required before the confirm PIN button shows up. Also, if they say they enter a wrong PIN, this is the wrong PIN lockout feature. This demo is set to 3 attempts and 10 seconds. So they're locked out from entering any pins for 10 seconds. It won't accept anything. That is also variably decrementing, such that if the user waits 11 seconds, say, after their last wrong pin attempt, the counter for that decrements by 2. So now I have 2 attempts. And that is persistent past the life of the application. So if we come back in here, it's going to require, and it's still locked out. Everything works really well with screen rotation. And also, as you can see, the actual pin, this is the debug version, but if you send it within the builder implementation, you set the application and then you send it the build configuration such that if it's a release build, you won't be able to screen capture on the pin enter activity. It sets those flags to secure, and this is the release build. So for the debug build, you're able to see that. That's controller settings. I think that is everything. So if you have any questions, shoot me an email or open an issue ticket. Thanks.